Okay. Hello. Dan, how you doing? Just doing a little experimenting, with the cameras and see what's going to go on. I'm going to change the view. I just want to see. You like that view? It's different. I got to readjust the camera so I get the toms in. And you can see the top of my head so you can see the ball part. Okay, how are you, Dan, since last time we spoke? You have the PDFs, and what I did last night on my site, which everybody was welcome to come, we went over to Samba, both in 4/4 and cut time, and we researched a little bit about the turnarounds. Now, do you remember the turnarounds, Dan? The first thing we got to do with the turnarounds, and I'm going to do them with both sticks and mallets tonight for an experiment. The turnarounds. Do you remember the turnarounds? Okay, if you remember the turnarounds, what we did is, like, if I had to measure a 16th note, straight 16ths, and I want to do them in singles, 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and that's pretty simple. And if I want to do them, that's the right hand lead, and if I want to do them with the left hand lead, it's going to become this. Now, if I say, all right, let's play one measure. I'm going to show them right now, the turnarounds. If I play one measure, right hand lead, and I want to switch to the left, I ended with the left, so that's going to be a problem to make it the transition smooth. So I'm going 1E and 2E and 3E. I have to come up to get in position for the accent. Now I have and is the paradiddle. That's the turnaround. 1, 2E and 3E and 4E and 1, 2E and Now do you see how I did that, Dan? 16th notes, 1E and I want to make the change over to the left-hand lead. 2, 3, 4E and the left, 2. Now when I made the change on 4E and it became the paradiddle, so I turned the sticking around. Now that's one surfaced application. Now, if I said, let's go to, let's make the change from the floor tom-tom to the snare drum, we're going to have this. Get that? I'm moving from the floor tom-tom counterclockwise to the snare. And I'm starting with my right on the floor tom-tom. Got that? Now you want to do that slow. First you want to get it on one surface. Once you get on one surface, you move it around. So what happens now there's a formula that we establish. We're going to make right equal a grouping of 16ths, single stroke roll, right hand lead. We make left equal a grouping of 16ths, left hand lead. So if I referenced off the stick control book, page 5, line 1, right, left, we're going to have going back and forth with the leads a paradiddle. Right, left, right, left, right, left. If I want to move it around to the floor tom-tom, to the snare drum, I'm going to get see that? You understand that, Tom? I like it with the mallets. When they're happening with the mallets, I change my hands over to this. I take the snares off. I get. In essence, I'm really moving, if I'm starting on the 1, counterclockwise because I'm going this way. But then from here, I'm going clockwise, counterclockwise to clockwise, counterclockwise. So I have 1, 2, 3. So on and so forth. Do we understand that, Dan? If I did line 1, it'd just be the paradiddle, like I just did. I'm drawing my right foot on the bass drum, 1, 2, 3, 4. My hi-hat, 2 and 4. 1, 2. Understand? Yes? No? Give me some questions. If you don't understand, I'll stay here. If you understand, I'll move on. Because I want to take this now. We just did it from the floor tom-tom to the small tom-tom. To the snare. Now I want to go from the floor tom-tom to the small tom-tom. It's the same thing. And I'm going, if I did line 1, that was right, left, right, left. Now I'm going to go from the floor tom-tom to the small tom-tom. And now I could do a combination. All right, so now if I go floor tom-tom, snare, floor tom-tom, small tom-tom. Watch. Get that? Now, if I want to move, say from my other floor, this one, to this one, say do the paradiddle, so on and so forth. You can make up your own combinations. What I'm going to start doing next week is set up my other 2 toms, set it up a little bit different. I'm going to use double pedals. We're going to go on a certain different journeys here. But you understand that so far? Maybe I'm better off playing it with the sticks so you can hear it. What I'm doing is I'm interpreting it's a stick control formula as turnarounds. So I'm going, the combination was from the floor tom-tom to the snare, from the floor tom-tom to the small tom-tom. Okay, you see the motion? Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. So I'm going to go now, 1, 2. So on and so forth. Now, what's going to happen, we're just working with the turnarounds with 16th notes. All right, now we're going to start working with the turnarounds. That's a single paradiddle to make the turnaround in 16th note formation. Now we're going to start working with the groupings of 6. and it becomes a double paradiddle. When I count sixes, like from the table of time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I go like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's a lot of counting. So I subdivide the count into 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Now, if I did, first is going to be one surface here now. If I made the right sequence to the left sequence, it becomes a double paradiddle. There we go. Back, forth, back, forth. Now, there's quite a few people in here. I really wish you would get into the chat. Now, I didn't write out the PDFs for the double paradiddle. So I'm going 1 and 2 and 3. And that's one surface. Let me try to change this camera view. Let me see if this mouse reaches here. Yeah, it does. Okay, so let's try it. Let's see what happens. I think. Here you go. There we go. That's better. All right. You understand that, right, Dan? Better? Hey, Ed. We're just doing a little bit of I was going over the turnarounds again with Dan. Dan wasn't here last night, and he was just the only one in here. So it's you now, Mr. Ed. How are you tonight, Ed? I'm still looking for there's a tremendous amount of them, but I'm trying to look for a very simple tune from Charlie Parker. You have any recommendations? Yes? No? Now, you understand what I did last night? 4/4, cut time, counting in eighth notes, counting in 16ths. Does that help you? Well, you do the 16ths anyway. Dan, you missed last night. You should try to make it on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays as much as you can. Ed, I was talking to Dan this afternoon on the phone, and he's going to come up and see me one Saturday or Sunday. I think that's really nice. Has the passion, and he says he's too old. Ha! If anybody's too old, it's me. How old are you, Ed? Let me give you my age, 72. How old are you, Ed? Dan, what did you say? You were 60, 61, or 59? All right. Did we understand the samba last night, Ed? Did it help you? Written out like that? Before I go there, let me just go over for Dan. I want to go over for Ed the double paradiddle. Now, double paradiddle, you can think of it in a lot of different ways. This particular way, all right, this particular way. Damn, Ed, you're almost there. Dan, Ed, I'm the old man. All right. Anyway. You could think of a double paradiddle as in triplets, 16th notes, but it plays over the line a little bit. The way for this next exercise, I think of a paradiddle as a grouping of 6. Now, it's written as 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what I did, that's a lot of counting, like I said before. Billy's Bounce is a good tune. That's a really good tune. I like that. Okay. We'll work with Billy's Bounce sometime next week, okay? Paul, what are you doing? Cutting your lawn? Okay, anyway, Billy Bounce is a good tune. We're going to do Billy Bounce next week, Paul, and then a request from Ed. And that is a good tune. I like that. Okay. So everybody get on YouTube, put in Charlie Parker, Billy Bounce, and there's probably quite a few artists that have done Billy's Bounce. I have to find the music to it. I'll write it out, and we'll do some drum notation with it, and we'll develop soloing with it, see the structure of the tune, so on and so forth. Now, back to the double paradiddle. We understand the turnarounds, okay, and the samba. I'm going to go over the samba after I do this again. The groupings of, the double paradiddle, instead of the grouping of 6, counting it, I go off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I take the double paradiddle and I subdivide the count into 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Now I'm playing the bass drum on every count of 1. That's for this next interpretation. You don't have the PDFs, so we will get the PDFs to you sometime this week or by the weekend. I'm just backed up here and falling behind. The weather's not helping either. It's hot. All right, so now, we change the formula. R is going to equal a single stroke. Okay, and the grouping is 6. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and a right hand lead. Don't play triplets. You can feel the difference and hear the difference. You want to play a grouping of 6 or counting it as 1 and 2 and 3. That's right hand lead, single strokes. Left hand lead. We understand that, gentlemen. So now, R becomes right hand lead. Left becomes left hand lead. So now with that formula, R equals that, right hand lead, L equals left hand lead. We make the transition from right to left. It has to be a paradiddle, a double paradiddle. Right, left, right, left. Okay? Now, again, like you should learn, I'm going to write them out. Here's how I'm going to present it to everybody. I'm going to do the formula just like I did, line 1, on one surface. Then I'm going to make a movement on a drum set application. There's 2 different movements here. We could play all right-hand accents on the floor tom-tom, all left-hand accents on the small tom-tom. All right, I'm going to write that out. I'm not going to do that tonight. What I want to do is present this as turnarounds. When I say turnaround, the right-hand lead, left hand lead. And I want to go from the floor tom-tom to the snare drum. And I'm going to present it that way. First on one surface, then floor tom-tom to snare, then floor tom-tom to small tom-tom. Then the combination, floor tom-tom to snare, floor tom-tom to small tom-tom. And you can make up your own combinations. So I'm going to do one surface, a few different combinations, and go to the next line, the interpretation. That's how I'm going to present it. Now, I was just experimenting tonight before Ed and Paul came, and I was doing, I think, let's see if this works. If I can see that far. Where'd you go, mouse? There you go. Come on. There you go. Where are you? There you go. I'm going to try this. This is going to be the overhead. And I'm going to play a little bit with the mallets. I like, I'm just experimenting. I got to rearrange the camera on top so you can see all the drums, or move the drums. We're going to have a overhead. I didn't write the sixes out. What I wrote out with the sixes, Paul, and if I did write it out, it's lucky for me because I should have it on file. What I did with the sixes maybe was do it on one surface, play all right-hand accents on the floor tom-tom, all left-hand accents on the small tom-tom, but I didn't move it around like this. I want to consolidate them. You like the overhead. I don't like the overhead. If I move the camera, you're going to see my bald head, so I don't want to deal with that. But I'm going to move it anyway. But anyway. We're going to get into the samba as soon as I finish this, okay? I might have wrote this out, Paul. That's line one. Right, left, right, left. One surface. Line two. Three, rather. Is that the one I wrote out, Paul? I wrote out the fours. Get with the program there, handsome. All right, so I'm going to write it all out for everybody so we have it. And I'm going to start doing some stuff with Billy's Bounce. I like that tune. Thank you, Ed, for the request. It helps me out a lot, and I appreciate that so very much. You know, Paul, you live in Chicago. However, Dan lives in Philly. And Ed lives in Massachusetts. Okay? So I'm trying to get the guys like, Mike. Mike has been a little ill now. His leg is in recuperation there. He'll be back soon. And a few of the other guys. I like to have a little, get-together. But Paul, unless, you could afford, why are you laughing? All right, Paul, if you could afford to take a plane ticket here, spend the week. How's that sound to you, Ed? We'll get together. We'll do a tremendous amount of videos, put them on Facebook, do live broadcasts, do a lot of lessons, exchange ideas, see what's going on. Okay, now this is for Dan. And this is like a revisit for you, Paul, and you, Ed. Okay? The samba. Basic samba. All right? Two different ways I've done the approach. Now, I don't have the sheets. I'm going to wing it, so to speak. Okay? Now, we've done, what is all that on the floor? Well, I got a lot of shit on there. Hey, Randy. What's up, man? Randy's going to be coming to the East Coast. Randy, where do you live? We're just talking. Maybe Paul, I know Ed, and Dan, and Mike are all going to come and hang out, for a day or two. Guys, hey, we'll go to the city. We'll go check out Mike Clark, bust his chops. We'll get Lenny White, and we'll mug him. Whatever, I'm only kidding. But anyway, we're going to do the samba. And this is the best. You weren't here last night, Randy. So we talked about Oklahoma. When are you going to come to the East Coast? Because you said you had family here. When you do, maybe we could organize something, and we'll all get together and have a good time. Anyway, we're going to do the samba for, now it's Randy, and for Dan. Now, this is the same thing that we've done last night there, Ed and Paul. So if you have any questions about what we did last night, please ask. Now, what I'm going to do, let me change the cameras. You like this camera angle, or you want me to change the camera, guys? Tell me, and I'll change it, unless you want me to keep this view. I have another camera on, but I'm not going to deal with that tonight. That's for when I do a drum pad lesson, and we will do a few drum pad lessons. Okay, last night, well, actually the first night last week, I took the samba, a basic samba. And, I play the samba both ways, like I taught you last night. However, I find it more open, more flexible, and I call this the Alan Dawson samba because it's related to his Rudimental Ritual, and that's a very, very difficult book. So what I do now, I play the ride cymbal, and I'm counting. Is it? So I'll hide the sticks. Now you can't see them. Okay. I take the ride cymbal. I'm counting in eighth notes. 1, 2, and 3. Now, I like this feel. We got 1. Now, a lot of guys don't like that. They like to think of it as 1 E and the 2. Now, it sounds the same, but the thought process is different, and the feel becomes different because of using the left hand. That's 1, 1, 2, and 3, 4. Now, I'm going to take the stick control book, line 1. I'm going to eliminate let's eliminate the rights, okay? And we're going to play all the lefts on the snare drum. So if I took line 1, all the lefts on line 1 are falling on the ands. 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I'm going to play that left hand part against the pattern I just did. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Do you get that, Dan? One, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. I go to line 2. Now the lefts fall on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Yeah. So I got 1, 2, and 3. So that's thinking of it 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. Now, Ed, you like to think of it as 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. Now I'm playing what you're counting. 1 and the 2 and the 1. And nobody plays a samba in 2/4. It's in 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to play that feel or that count, and I'm going to interpret line 1 again. Eliminating all the rights, playing all the lefts. 1 and the 2 and the 4E and the 1E and the 2, 3, 4. But I'm still playing it. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. It's just a matter of counting and interpretation. Now let's go to line 2. 1, 2, 3, 1 E and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. 3 and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2. I'm just fooling around with the left hand, but that's what it is, and you could make it as colorful as you want and play it all over the place. Now, like I said, I was in Brazil, and man, as soon as you play a samba, those guys, they play. And it's not a drum set application, it's a multitude of percussion. And those guys play so fast. Wow. It's just a great, great place to be to learn Latin music. That's their culture. And every feel, there's so many different kinds of feels for the samba. What we're doing tonight is just a basic samba. So I'm kind of reviewing it for Paul and Ed, for Dan and Randy. Okay? So that takes care of the samba. Now, I told, I don't know if you were here when I mentioned this, Randy, but I said sometime next week we're going to start working on a Charlie Parker tune, which is the basic foundation for interpreting jazz tunes. Everybody's a Charlie Parker freak. Everybody studied Charlie Parker, became great jazz musicians, if they understand his concept. So we're going to research it, we're going to take it apart, and we're going to start with a very simple tune, Billy's Bounce. Now, there's some things that you need to understand about reading, and I think everybody here knows how to read the things that we've done so far, how to take eighth notes and make them swing, the divisions of 16th notes, divisions of quarters and eighths. That's all you need to know. And be able to play the bass drum 1, 2, 3, 4, the hi-hat 2 and 4. Because we're going to put in all the exercises that we've done inside of the tune and play melodically. See, we're on the next level here. Instead of just counting all the time, we're going to hum all the time. But when I do Billy's Bounce, I'm going to try to put it through my system. However, I cannot do Billy's Bounce on YouTube because there's a copyright to it. So it would have to be on my site on Mondays and Wednesdays. And then that's a good thing. You know, we'll take it apart. We'll play a few times, you know, run certain parts together. You get Charlie Parker. He has probably about 5 or 6 different arrangements. You have Miles Davis. You have Freddie Hubbard. You have John Coltrane, all those guys. And they have different arrangements. We're going to take a very simple arrangement. We're going to take the tune apart. And we're also going to go inside of the improv and see what's happening there. So it is going to be a lengthy kind of thing. And get on YouTube, get Billy's Bounce going on. I'm going to try to get the sheet music and send it to everybody. Okay, so no more. We get now to Billy's Bounce. Eventually, instead of counting it, we're going to hum it. And we're going to hum it through the improv as well. That's the whole thing there. We're going to play our drums not as a timekeeper, but as a musician. You're going to play the tune like the piano player, the sax player, and the bass player. It's all in time. You know, you have a certain voice that you're putting or you're adding inside of the tune. One thing I forgot to tell everybody, when I play with somebody, I totally refuse to play time for that musician. I look at it this way. He's a musician. Why should I have to play time for him? He keeps his own time. I'm playing time. He can hear it in me. I'm going to play my own time inside of the tune. The way the piano player plays his chords, the guitar player plays the melody, has an improv, or a sax player. They're still thinking melodically, they're still thinking rhythmically, and they're still in time. So why should I play time for them? They're musicians. They shouldn't be calling themselves musicians if someone else has to play the time. It's not a commercial gig. It's not a straight ahead gig. It's not a dance tune. It's not a cover tune. You're not in Joe's Bar and Grill and hot dog stand playing Proud Mary. You know, it's an art. Anybody have any questions on anything we've done tonight? Billy's Bounce sometime next week. I can't guarantee when. I'm going to send everybody some information about Charlie Parker, where he was from, where he lived, his background, what his concepts were, and hopefully it helps everybody. And we'll do that with a couple other musicians. You know, unfortunately, and it's very sad, you know, and all the great musicians like Charlie Parker, okay, Ed, all right, let me get to that. Let me make my statement here. It's just sad, and I'll do what you just said, okay? It's really sad, like somebody like Charlie Parker, John Coltrane, Miles Davis, Freddie Hubbard, all those guys, Elvin Jones, man, they were all strung out on heroin. And they thought maybe heroin made them play better, but it didn't make them play better. It's either you have it or you don't. All right, let me get to Ed's. I don't want to go. We'll talk about that next time, about the drug thing with those guys. Anyway, Ed, you can read the syncopation book, and the syncopation book in 4/4 time or cut time. The stick control book's in 4/4 time or cut time, so it's the same concept. Okay, 2/2 is alla breve. Alla breve means cut time. So if you're in 4/4, you cut the 4 on the top in half, which is 2, and you cut the bottom on half, which is 2. That's 2 half notes. So it's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Your bass drum, for example, instead of a 1 and a 2 and the 1 and the 2, I'm going 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. That bass drum, the pulse is 1 and 3 on alla breve. So I find it easier, like I said, to play it in 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. Or if you want to play it alla breve, it's in 4/4 time, not 2/2. I'm taking cut time. Cut time means alla breve, 2 half notes. If I'm playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 quarter notes, that's 4/4. If I'm going to play it in cut time, it becomes 1 and 2 and, or 1, 2, 3, 4. That bass drum goes back 1. 1, 2, straight time, cut time. Straight time. Cut time. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. You agree with that, Mr. Ed? Yes, no, hello. Okay, we're just about done. I will be back tomorrow night on my site and try to make that. Guys, Ed and Randy, I know that you're going to be there, Paul, and you're going to be there, Ed. So, with all that good stuff being said, I got to see if I get this up here. Where is it? No, it's not it. Okay, I got to get it. Let me see if I can get it from here. Hold on. Nope, that's the email. I have to get it from over there. Okay, anyway, guys. Did that answer your question, Ed? You're welcome, Dan. You're welcome, Paul. You're welcome, Randy. You're welcome, Ed. No problem. My pleasure, guys. The more input, the better. Does that answer your question, Mr. Ed? All right, we'll see everybody tomorrow night. Let me go sign off. Everyone. There you go. Thank you, Paul. You all have the email. You all have the address. If you want the address, I'll put it in here right now. Come on, Ash. Here's the accent. I mean the address. Okay, gentlemen. See you tomorrow evening. Have a good one.